Hello, welcome to the video notes for lesson 2-5. This video is all about using the distributive property to solve equations with fractions, but this is part 2. In the last video, we solved equations with fractions also, but it was just one fraction, and the one method that I showed you, well, there's two methods. One we had already done before, and that was step by step. The other method, the new one, was to distribute the denominator. So today we're going to see some examples where the step-by-step method really doesn't work, or would be very difficult. I shouldn't say it doesn't work. It would be a lot more difficult. So the easy way is to do the distributive property. And of course, we all like to do things the easy way. So I'm going to scroll down here so we can see this. The problems that I'm doing for you come from page 19 in your notes. So make sure that you have this in front of you. If you don't, you can always just copy this on a piece of paper and put it in your binder afterwards. Okay, so I have the fraction, or the equation, 3x over 8 plus 2 equals 1/8. Now what makes this different than what we did in the last video is we have a fraction on both sides. So if I tried to do step by step, well, I could add 2 to both sides, that would be fine. But then, you know, I have the fraction on both sides, which luckily they're both 8, so that still wouldn't be too bad. But when you see the next example, and that's a little more typical of what we'll be dealing with, the distributive property becomes the best way to do this. So I'm going to multiply everything by 8. Now, here is a new step. We are going to write 8, parentheses, 3x over 8, plus 8, parentheses, 2, equals 8, parentheses, 1 over 8. This is a new step. When we did this the first time, I just wanted you to get the feel of how to do the distributive property. Now, I want you to actually write this out, because by writing it out, we can see some things that are real nice, like canceling out 8s. So if I cancel out the 8s, I have 3x. 8 times 2 is 16, so plus 16, equals, and the 8s cancel, so I just have 1. Now, look at this equation. This should be a pretty easy equation for all of you to solve. We get rid of plus 16 by subtracting it, doing the inverse. And then we get 3x equals negative 15. How lovely. Divide both sides by 3, and we get an answer of x equals negative 5. Now, I know some of you are probably starting to whine and complain because you know what comes next. We got to do the check. Actually, I'm going to get to the check in just a minute because I have to move the screen up to be able to do it. And before I do, I want to solve this other one and talk about a couple things. So again, now this time when I look at it, the fractions have a different denominator. So that might cause a little bit of a problem. However, if you think about when you're dealing with fractions, if the denominator is the same, well, what do we do in that situation? We come up with a common denominator. In this case, we actually want the least common denominator, kind of like least common multiple. And if I look at 4 and 8, 8 is the least, all in capitals because I don't want you to shout it out in your mind. I'll abbreviate common denominator because if I don't, I won't fit it. So we want the least common denominator to multiply our entire equation by. So that'll be 8. Now, remember, I need to write out this next step. So I'm going to do 8, parentheses, 1 for x, minus 8, parentheses, 1, equals 8, parentheses, 3 over 8. Okay, so don't skip this step. right here, and right here. In fact, if any of you can remember to bring up that we have a new step when we do the distributive property, bring this up in math class next time we meet. I will give your scoreboard a point or two reward for it. Okay, so this time I'm going to actually work backwards because I want to save this one for last. So the 8's cancel out over here. We're solving an equation. We have 3 on this side of the equation. 8 times 1 is 8. And don't forget the subtraction or minus sign. Now here, what's going to happen? 8 times 1, 4. Well, the 8 and the 4 could cancel. Now 4 is much smaller than 8. So how many times would 4 go into 8? 2. So now I do 2 times 1, which is 2, and then don't forget the x. So we have 2x. If you don't understand that, try this. In your calculator, do 8 times 1/4. Or 8 divided by 4. And you get 2. So that's how we get this. Now look at this equation. How simple is this to solve? Add 8 to both sides. And of course now, there we go. And we get the 2x comes down, equals 11. Divide both sides by 2. Easy peasy. X equals 5.5. Okay. Now, if I'm going too fast, pause it. Catch up. Now I'm going to do the check for both of these. So check, and of course, as all of you know and love to do, we are going to do ESS, and we start by rewriting the original equation. So I have 3x over 8 plus 2 equals 1/8. Substitute in -5. So now I have -15 over 8 plus 2 equals 1/8. Now, plus 2. So that's like 16/8. So -15/8 plus 16. Oh, let me write it. -15 over 8 plus 16 over 8 equals 1/8. -15 plus 16 is 1. So we get 1/8 equals 1/8. Yay, it checks. Okay, next one. 1/4 x minus 1 equals 3/8. 1/4 times 5.5 or 5.5 minus 1 equals 3/8. Now 1/4 times 5.5 is 1 3/8 or 11/8 minus 1, which is 8/8 equals 3/8. 11 minus 8 is 3, so I have 3. Remember, you don't, when you add and subtract and you have a common denominator, you don't do anything with the denominator, you just leave it alone. So, it checks. Beautiful. Okay, over on the next page, page 20. Now, I am not going to walk you through both of these. I would like you to try them to help you out so that you don't get too far into it and realize you've made a mistake. Although if you do make a mistake, make sure you share it. I think I got it. The answer is n equals 6. For the I got it, the answer is x equals 1. I've checked mine and they work, so don't worry, this isn't a trap where I'm giving you a wrong answer and hoping that you catch my mistake. This is so for you to practice and hopefully understand it. Obviously, if you make a mistake, make sure you share it with the rest of the class. Good luck, and we will see you in math.